Ahead on OC News, a Cal State Fullerton student and her grandparents contracted the coronavirus. We'll give you an update on their recovery. Small business owners in Southern California are struggling, even those businesses that are considered essential and have stayed open during this pandemic. And Titans are coming together to help provide food for those who are struggling to feed their families. All this and more, OC News starts right now. Hello and thank you for joining us at OC News. I'm Genesis Osuna and welcome to the special edition of OC News. All of us have been working from home since the stay-at-home orders were issued. I'm joining you today from my kitchen. Since the start of Governor Gavin Newsom's stay-at-home order, the nationwide lockdown has brought many families closer together. Our reporter Danielle Sois spoke with one family about their experience.
To stay inside.
A day for those in quarantine is quiet and secluded. Millions of Americans have been forced to transition to this new normal, and Cassie Sanchez, a 22-year-old college student, was not expecting it in the slightest. Sanchez was expecting a quick visit to her grandparents' home during her spring break, but she had unknowingly made the decision that their home would be welcoming her for the next few months.
So my name is Cassie Sanchez, and I actually am one of the people who tested positive with the coronavirus as of today. We confirmed the results. And then both my grandparents also were sick before me. So my grandpa's name is Ken and my grandma's name is Linda, and this is week 3 that they have been sick and tested positive for the virus as well. So it's been a full month since we've been quarantined, a full month since we've left the house. So 5 days into the hospital, he was transported on a Monday, and 5 days later, he was actually put on a ventilator. And it has been a little over a week since that happened, and he hasn't come out of it yet. He's still on the ventilator, still, testing positive for this virus.
After Cassie Sanchez had reached out to her followers on social media to join together and pray for her grandfather, she and her family had finally gained an ounce of hope.
We did a prayer circle for my grandpa, and it was absolutely incredible. And it ended up being like 100 probably people at least. So at this point we are like crying because how many times do we hear that people are realistically surviving this virus?
But the story didn't end there. This was also the point in time when Cassie found out her test results.
Our entire family, there was about 18 of us today that went to go get a test, and basically what this test was, it's a little finger prick, so it checks your blood, and it checks to see if you have immunity to the virus. It has separated our family. I can't even see my mom. I can't see my dad, I can't see my brothers and my sisters, I can't see anybody. And so it's kind of mentally draining and exhausting because you never know who's going to get it next. You don't know how it spreads. We have no clue how they got it and no clue how long you have it, if you can get it again, if you can spread it.
Luckily, her family also had no clue how fast his recovery process would be. After one fateful phone call from his doctors, a plasma transfusion was scheduled, and the doctors were hopeful to get Mr. Kuhnhofer breathing on his own.
That next Sunday morning, he got the plasma around midnight, and that very next morning, the doctors called us, and they said that his vitals have been doing extremely well in the last 12 hours since he got the plasma, and that he was going to be taken off the ventilator.
Wow. That's an incredible story. You mentioned that Cassie had tested positive for the virus as well. How severe were her symptoms compared to her grandfather's?
In the beginning, I believe it was just not even detected. She actually had to go and get tested because her grandparents were both infected. So it's just the process in turn. So she actually was asymptomatic, meaning she had no symptoms at all and was probably just a carrier before she even arrived to their home. But as of now, she's doing fine. Both the grandparents are doing well, and her grandfather is recovering at home. So for the next 6 weeks, he's kind of just going to be looked about.
Well, that's great to hear, and I sure do hope that her grandfather recovers quickly.
Yeah.
Some residents of Orange County are still struggling to find a job and are relying on unemployment checks. The Second Harvest Food Bank is stepping up in a huge way. For more, let's send it over to Julio Marquez.
As Orange County residents are financially struggling, the Second Harvest Food Bank is donating food to 7,000 families, along with the help of a couple of Cal State Fullerton alumni.
When you have a crisis like this is what we have, magic. People stepping up, helping make sure that everybody has enough to eat.
Magic indeed, as car after car lined up, the Second Harvest Food Bank and Anaheim's first responders are prepared to donate bags of potatoes, onions, shelf-stable grocery items, and Hawaiian bread. Second Harvest Food Bank Mission Chief Officer and Cal State Fullerton alumna Claudia Keller implies hunger has changed after entering the pandemic.
So the definition or the concept of hunger and food insecurity is very different now because we are in an emergency situation where literally hundreds of thousands of folks are now affected.
Keller is also familiar with assisting others in poverty, which is an underlying root of hunger.
Causes of poverty and social injustice, whether it's health or education. Working on hunger for me is one way to work on poverty and the underlying causes of poverty.
As many have lost jobs or hours, this can result in hunger within a household, which Keller wants to prevent.
Kids are getting hit from two different directions. We are working with after-school programs to provide not only meals for those children, but also food boxes for their families. So we're trying to stem the tide with those children that we already support.
Another Cal State alumni and now California Congressman Lou Correa says the key to survival is coming together as civilians.
All of us can look at government. I'm a congressman, federal government, but government can't do it all. At the end of the day, it's neighbors helping neighbors. And that's why today you see all these folks here. We're all helping each other out. Neighbors are being watching for each other. Neighbors are being good and kind and watching for each other.
And there is only one goal in mind, Correa implies.
It's better to give than to receive. And I'll tell you, if you ask these volunteers here today, some of them got here at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and they've been here working because you know what? In times of crisis, it feels good in the heart and in the soul to know that you're making a difference.
The Second Harvest Food Bank will be partnering with the City of Anaheim and the Honda Center to host a pop-up drive-through food distribution in the parking lot of Honda Center every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. until the pandemic is over. For OC News, Julio Marquez.
That's a great thing Second Harvest is doing, Julio. But can you tell everyone what Second Harvest Food Bank of Orange County main focus is?
Yeah, Genesis, their main focus is to provide food and fresh produce to more than 250,000 children, seniors, and families every month by partnering with more than 300 nonprofit agencies and programs.
Wow. Thank you for that, Julio. Coming up after the break, the COVID-19 pandemic is having a big effect on the education system. See how people are dealing with it. Plus, non-essential businesses have been taking a hit during the pandemic. We have the story on how they are surviving.
I think the best thing you can do here as a comm major at Cal State Fullerton is to get involved.
Someone who really wants to get into the film or TV industry should definitely get involved with Titan TV.
What you are learning in your classes, you can be learning 10 times faster.
Any position you can think about in a studio, you could try here.
There's many different types of shows. Me, I'm involved in entertainment. Some people want to do sports. Some people want to do, more hard news.
Since it's a student run, we all kind of hold each other accountable and we make sure that we all make it the best quality content that we possibly can.
I feel like I'm ahead in my classes because of the involvement I had here.
I kind of have a little bit of an advantage compared to some of my classmates.
I would say the best way to get involved is come down to the Titan TV studio and volunteer.
It's in the basement of the library. Once you do get involved, you won't regret it. Fill out an application and get started.
Welcome back. Due to the stay-at-home orders across the country, virtual learning is becoming the new normal. We now bring in our reporter Justina Hernandez for more on this.
Indeed, Genesis, it's been over a month now since schools have shifted to virtual learning after the coronavirus outbreak. Many students have suffered the loss of regular learning, affecting their motivation to keep up with their schoolwork. But despite the circumstances, they are striving to finish strong. Check it out.
With sudden changes to traditional learning caused by COVID-19, Typical deadlines are no longer the main priority to some students considering their different home circumstances. CSUF senior Dolores Alvarez shares her concerns via Zoom.
When you're at home, you have other priorities sometimes and other things going on, not necessarily distractions, but distractions, other things going on. For example, there's other people at home, like I'm a mother, so if anything happens, obviously I get up right away and I have to go, get her. Part of the struggle, I guess, is the fact that you weren't expecting it. Like if you sign up for a few like online courses, like okay, you put yourself in the mindset that you're going to be online, you're going to reserve the time, how many hours to study, and also balance your at school classes. But now everything is online, and you would think like, it's easy now because it's online. All you have to do is open up the computer screen, but it's not like that.
Other difficult circumstances that some students have been facing is lack of appropriate learning devices such as laptops or access to Wi-Fi that are high factors capable of affecting their virtual learning.
Biggest concern was how am I even going to be able to be successful in my online courses that I'm trying to take right now, and then even to like register online. And now that my mom and my sister have gotten unemployed, how are they going to fill out their unemployment stuff? So it was just like beyond my education. It was like, okay, if I don't have access to Wi-Fi, one, I'm not going to be able to do any of my classwork or go to my classes. People might say, well, oh, you have your phone, but like doing something from your phone from this tiny screen is way different from having a computer and having Wi-Fi.
Because of lack of motivation and new struggles are rising, CSUF President Fran Berge confirmed implementing a no credit grading policy for the spring term of 2020. This new grading option will not affect students' GPA, nor is it necessary for all students to apply for. Students can decide to opt for this opportunity based on their student status. But not all students across the state have similar options. LA school officials are still maintaining their regular grading policy, with the exception of not giving F letter grades for the rest of the K through 12 school year. This will allow some ease on the next school year report cards.
So the fact that LA schools are not giving students Fs doesn't really impact me because I'm not an F student, so I don't really have to worry about that. But it's good to know for the kids who don't do their homework.
With the ongoing pandemic, it is uncertain what will occur. But what is confirmed is that schools will not be returning to campus for the rest of the 2019-2020 school year. But just remember, we're all in this together. I'm Justina Hernandez reporting for OC News.
Businesses all throughout our community have been affected by COVID-19. Our reporter Marina Rodriguez was able to speak to a business that had completely shut down, including a business that is considered essential. Marina?
Hi, Genesis. That is correct. During these uncertain moments, businesses are being affected all throughout the county, throughout the state. Businesses that actually are non-essential businesses had to close down, and those essential businesses are barely keeping afloat. I spoke to two business owners, and this is what they had to say in regards to this.
Business closures have swept our cities from day to night as COVID-19 regulations continue to impact our daily lives. On March 19th, Governor Gavin Newsom issued an executive order in which non-essential businesses will have to close their doors until further notice, and those considered essential will have to take proper action in order to remain open. Business owner Marianne Guanzo owns a local bridal shop in Bakersfield. The shutdown news came as a surprise to her. It has definitely affected us because we are a business that had to completely shut down. We had a 100% decrease in sales. There are no people that are currently interested in shopping for party dresses because there are no social events. Many events have been canceled or postponed, such as quinceañeras and weddings. It is something that it has affected us tremendously. But not only are the non-essential businesses suffering during this pandemic, the businesses that have been categorized as essential businesses have also seen a rapid decrease in sales. Mario Rodriguez is the owner of CarStar Larry's Auto Body in Whittier. Fear roamed the office of his family-owned body shop as the stay-at-home order continues to expand.
Not knowing how much business is coming in the door and not knowing how long I was going to be able to retain employees.
As the pandemic continues to pan out and new regulations are being enforced by the state government, essential businesses such as Carson Larry's Auto Body created new protocols for their employees, but most importantly, for their clients.
They have also placed a curbside service for all clients. When a client pulls up to their parking lot, they are required to stay in their vehicle, call the shop, then an employee will be out to greet them and assist them with their collision needs. The ending of all this is still unknown. Business owners fear how all this will end.
I think it will, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I think everybody's still living in fear, and it's going to take some time before we rebound and get back to normal.
As the state continues to slowly open, small businesses will face the reality and see if they will be able to stay in business after this pandemic. Reporting for OC News, this is Marina Rodriguez.
Closing a business down is so unfortunate. Maria, have you recently spoken to either business owners about California recently reaching phase 2 of the state reopening process? And how do they feel about this?
I actually did. I spoke to Maria Inguanzo, recently, the owner of the bridal shop, and she is delighted. Obviously, she had a 100% decrease in sales, and she said that she can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's kind of exciting for them.
Awesome. Coming up after the break, the stay-at-home orders are having a big impact on the environment in Southern California. See the changes.
If you love music, this is for everyone. It doesn't matter what major you are. This is such a warm place to come get involved and to meet people.
If you want to do this, you should do it. You don't need any experience at all.
Our entire crew loves music, and this is the one place where they can just let go and be free.
What makes Titan Radio special is that this is the music taste of just students.
Titan Radio just gives you the freedom to basically just be who you are.
Every student should take advantage of this radio station. You'll gain valuable life lessons that you won't gain inside of the classroom. Our DJs and our volunteers actually move on from here and get outside jobs. They land their first internships, they nail their interviews because they have this on their resume.
I 100% recommend people to get involved. And the process for getting involved is as easy as going online and applying on our website.
Titan Radio is expressive, fun.
It's a party.
I love my job. I've probably learned more here at the station than I have my entire life.
Welcome back to OC News. In the midst of all this, illnesses, job losses, and working together to keep our heads afloat during the COVID-19 pandemic, little do we know we're doing Mother Nature a favor by staying at home and keeping our commutes to a minimum. In our final story, our reporter Celeste Bassich gives us more details on how Southern California's environment has positively changed since the Safer at Home order began. Celeste? Ahead on OC News, a Cal State Fullerton student and her grandparents contracted the coronavirus. We'll give you an update on their recovery. Small business owners in Southern California are struggling, even those businesses that are considered essential and have stayed open during this pandemic. And Titans are coming together to help provide food for those who are struggling to feed their families. All this and more, OC News starts right now. Hello and thank you for joining us at OC News. I'm Genesis Osuna and welcome to the special edition of OC News. All of us have been working from home since the stay-at-home orders were issued. I'm joining you today from my kitchen. Since the start of Governor Gavin Newsom's stay-at-home order, the nationwide lockdown has brought many families closer together. Our reporter Danielle Sois spoke with one family about their experience.
To stay inside. A day for those in quarantine is quiet and secluded. Millions of Americans have been forced to transition to this new normal, and Cassie Sanchez, a 22-year-old college student, was not expecting it in the slightest. Sanchez was expecting a quick visit to her grandparents' home during her spring break, but she had unknowingly made the decision that their home would be welcoming her for the next few months.
So my name is Cassie Sanchez, and I actually am one of the people who tested positive with the coronavirus as of today. We confirmed the results. And then both my grandparents also were sick before me. So my grandpa's name is Ken and my grandma's name is Linda, and this is week 3 that they have been sick and tested positive for the virus as well. So it's been a full month since we've been quarantined, a full month since we've left the house. So 5 days into the hospital, he was transported on a Monday, and 5 days later, he was actually put on a ventilator. And it has been a little over a week since that happened, and he hasn't come out of it yet. He's still on the ventilator, still, testing.
Thank you, Celeste. I definitely do feel happy that there's something positive that came out this pandemic. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you for joining us today and throughout the semester. From all of us here, I'm Genesis Osuna. Stay safe, everyone, and we will see you next semester.